What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Shootin the Sith. I'm your host, Robert Slavinsky, and with me today is, well, nobody right now. We're having some technical difficulties getting Colton on here. He's working with his computer. Gonna get it back up and running and get on here hopefully very soon. But it's been a while. It's been quite some time since I've done anything in regards to Star Wars. And that's what Shootin the Sith is. Shootin the Sith is Star Wars talk. It's part of the Spoilerverse network. It is a show brought to you from and by Bridging the Geekdoms, our main podcast. So that's what this show is all about. So if you're somebody who just, loves Star Wars, this is the place for you. For you guys. This is for you. I love Star Wars. I've been a fan of Star Wars since I was 10 years old back in the mid-90s. Love it so much. So that's why we started Shootin the Sith. There are plenty of Star Wars podcasts out in the world. There's Star Wars podcasts, YouTube shows, blogs, whatever, what have you. And I get that. There's so many of them. Why do you need another one to listen to? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Because I don't hold back. I'm not going to sit here and hold back. If I don't like something, I'm going to say it. If I think that something was fantastic, I'm going to say it. If I'm 5 years from now, if I decide, you know what, I didn't like something I liked 10 years ago, I'm going to say it and I'm going to explain it. And I'm going to talk about why. I'm going to go in depth and really discuss and cover why there are certain aspects of Star Wars I love or don't love. And that's what's amazing about this show. Again, this is just Shootin the Sith, much like the term shooting the shit. That's what this show's about. It works better when there's two of us on here because shooting the Sith, shooting the shit, you got to have another person to go back and forth with. But that is the idea of Shootin the Sith. I will from time to time throw up videos on the YouTube channel of ours, Bridging the Geekdoms YouTube channel, where I just discuss one simple topic. It could be, I discussed why Star Wars doesn't need Rey, why Rey can be done with and they can move forward without her. I do videos like that. I do different things. I talk about if I hear anything, if I hear rumors or speculation or something like that I find interesting, I'm going to talk about them. And that's what this show, Shootin the Sith, is all about. Really was hoping Colton would get on here by now. But hopefully he jumps on in a minute here. I know he's just having some issues with his computer. But we are going to be talking about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series that is coming out on Disney Plus in 2022. I'm excited about it. Fans, I'm sure you are all excited about it. This is a show that we've all been wanting for probably, what would you say, maybe 5, 6 years, 10 years. Honestly, I think I've been wanting this show longer than I wanted anything else once the sequel trilogy started coming out. So yes, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series is coming out in 2022, and I kind of want to discuss here today what we're going to be getting from the Star Wars show. What do we already know that we are getting? And then any guests that I have, any people that want to comment, tell us what you want to see in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series and what you're hoping is going to pop up, because that is what is so amazing about this fandom. Star Wars fandom, I think, is one of the best fandoms in the world because speculation and excitement around the entire franchise is always just huge and exciting and fun. And that's what I want to bring to this show. Again, we have a whole bunch of shows, a backlog of shows on the YouTube channel, as well as our podcast. So go find our podcast, Shootin the Sith, and you'll find a bunch of shows there. But let's get to it. And as soon as Colton gets his stuff figured out and on, he can jump on. So what do we know of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series? Well, first off, it is releasing on Disney Plus in 2022. But what does that mean? When is it filming? When is stuff going to happen? Well, production has begun with principal photography beginning any day now. Any day it's going to start principal photography. So we figure it's probably going to take them, I'd say probably a 6 to 7 month shoot, roughly. And then you're going to have to do all the post production and getting everything set and ready for what is to, for release in 2022. So releasing on Disney Plus in 2022. We don't have a specific date. We don't have a release date for when it is coming out. But my suspicion is that it'll probably be this time next year, April-ish, maybe May, June, somewhere around there. I think that's going to be the nice sweet spot for it to sit. The thing that is interesting, and you have to consider and really figure out what they're going to do is, are they going to, at some point, Disney Plus, are they going to have two franchises or more going on at the same time on Disney Plus? Because right now it's had the Mandalorian ended, then we got Mandalorian season 2, that ended, then we got WandaVision ended, then we got Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that's ending, then we're gonna get Bad Batch, that ends, and we get Loki. So the way that they're doing everything is kind of going in a way that there's only one franchise going at a time. But as we start to see all these different productions and different shows coming out, all of this here is what is coming out from Star Wars, from Lucasfilm. You have the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, Bad Batch, Rangers of the New Republic, Andor, Lando, The Droid Story, The Acolyte. Rogue Squadron is now Ahsoka and Visions. Rogue Squadron is the only film in that there. So you have to wonder, how are they going to fit this all in on Disney Plus over the next few years, while Marvel has a plethora of their own shows that they're doing and pushing and wanting to get on Disney Plus. You're going to have to figure there's going to be some overlap. There's going to be times when on Wednesday you're going to get a Marvel show, on Friday you'll get a Star Wars show, or vice versa, or something like that. I'm excited. Disney Plus is killing it right now. I give them a bunch of credit for what they've done in the year and a half that it's been out, that it's been a thing. They've done a great job with it. So bravo to Disney Plus. And thank you so much for bringing us Obi-Wan, because we've been wanting this for so long. The show will be directed, all 6 episodes, by Deborah Chow. I believe she did a few episodes of Mandalorian. I just want to see which one she did here. Should have had this up already. But she actually did one of the better episodes of The Mandalorian, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Oh, she did 2 episodes. She did Chapter 7, The Reckoning, and Chapter 3, Sin. So she's done 2 episodes of The Mandalorian. And again, there was not an episode of The Mandalorian that was bad, especially when it came to directing. And that's just the beauty of what they've been able to do with The Mandalorian and everything like that. And as I see on her IMDb here, she has credits for all 6 episodes. She will be directing all 6 episodes of The Mandalorian, or Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So that's exciting. Interesting as well, it's going to utilize the same technology, the crazy 360-degree screen that all the rendering is already done pre-production. So basically the camera, when it moves, the screen moves, the picture moves, so it always looks in focus. This technology is getting to be huge, absolutely huge. It's started to be used on other films. Let's see here. I want to see what it's called exactly, because it is really cool. It's a 20-foot high by 270-degree semicircle LED video wall and ceiling with a 75-foot diameter performance space. It's incredible technology that they're using there. It was designed and created by both Industrial Light and Magic and Epic Games, which, for gamers out there, for those of you who are video gamers, you know that they are the makers of the Unreal Engine. And there were some other people involved. Fuse, Lux Machina, Profile Studios, NVIDIA, and Ari unveiled the filmmaking paradigm in collaboration with Jon Favreau. Whole bunch of stuff. It is amazing, fantastic technology. The Batman, actually, Matt Reeves' The Batman, utilized it for some of the shooting of their movie due to COVID restrictions. They couldn't do as much as they wanted on site, so they opted to go that route, which would help in minimizing COVID possibility of receiving COVID or getting COVID. So that's pretty cool. But that is all the technical side. That is the director. That is when we're going to see it, where it's going to be. That's all of that. But let's get a little bit of the story. Let's get an understanding of what this this show is going to be bringing us. Because the last time we saw Obi-Wan Kenobi, he was dropping off Luke to Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen on Tatooine at the Lars homestead. It's the last time we saw him. Now, there have been comics, there have been books, there have been many things written about Obi-Wan over the years, some still canon, some not. But in the great scheme of things, in live action, that's the last place we saw him. So when does this show take place? Well, the show is going to take place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, which would place it 9 years before A New Hope. Now, a lot could have happened in those 10 years. My suspicion, I'm suspecting this, and this is just theory, this is nothing that is official, but I think that we're going to have some kind of back and forth flashbacks sort of thing possibly in the show where we will learn what Obi-Wan was doing over those 10 years and going back and forth as he's watching over Luke on Tatooine. I do hope and believe that they are going to take him off of Tatooine, but we're going to get to that here in a second because Darth Vader, portrayed by Hayden Christensen, is returning to the universe of Star Wars. Hayden Christensen is finally coming back to Star Wars. I'm ecstatic about this. There's so many people out there that are like, Hayden Christensen, he was horrible, he's terrible, he's this, he's that. But I mean, it is what it is. If you didn't like his acting, I thought it was fine. I thought it worked for the character, but some people just were not a fan. So let's see if I can get a hold of Colton here. Let's see. So we got Hayden Christensen coming. Fantastic. Love it. Gonna play Darth Vader. Now, I also was suspecting, and I still kind of suspect this, that we're going to have some kind of flashbacks to build the relationship of Obi-Wan and Anakin, because I think Obi-Wan is going to struggle with what happened to Anakin. Because over these 10 years, I think he's going to have a battle with himself and understanding and trying to figure out what went wrong, what he did wrong, what he could have done better, what could have gone a different way. So I think that's what this is going to be. I think that's what the show is going to be about is, all right, how can I be better? How can I make sure that this doesn't happen to Luke or something like that? But an interesting aspect is Kathleen Kennedy has confirmed that Vader and Obi-Wan will fight and even call it the fight of the century. So why are they fighting? A lot of people are like, hey, they can't do that because in A New Hope, Vader says, when I last left you, I was but the learner, but now I am the master. So what could that all mean? And, let's ask our co-host here, Colton, what's going on, buddy? You got it working.
Yeah, damn technical difficulties over here. Yeah, that was a journey.
That's all right. It happens. You had to go and get a second monitor and screw everything up. So
yeah, what's crazy is this is the curved one I have, so it's all real nice and I look better on it.
Curvies are so much cooler, aren't they?
Right? But yeah.
But I kind of just ran through. I don't know if you're listening while you were trying to get that up. I ran through when it's releasing, who's directing, all of that jazz. I kind of got past all the technical aspects, but now we're getting into the meat and potatoes of it.
Ooh, we're in the cock and balls. I like it.
Yeah. So 10 years, the show is going to be taking place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, which is 9 years before A New Hope. Darth Vader will be in the show portrayed by Hayden Christensen.
I'm so excited for that.
Kathleen Kennedy has confirmed that Vader and Obi-Wan will fight in what she calls the fight of the century. But how? Again, a lot of people say, you can't do that because in A New Hope, Vader says, when I last left you, I was with the learner. Now I am the master. How does that work in this context? And I kind of want to get your thoughts on this.
I don't know how it works in that context, to be honest. I mean, I guess you could kind of make that argument in 10 years. He still maybe doesn't know everything, which would make sense. But I mean, Palpatine still exists, so he's still an apprentice no matter what happens. And nothing that works there would make sense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's kind of what I'm going with it from my understanding and thought of it. It's more about he's still a learner in the dark arts. What is this, Harry Potter? He's still a learner in the dark side. He's still learning his ways through the dark side. And that's how you can now take it. However, he goes, I was but the learner, and you were the master or whatever. So that is the concerning part, because but here's the thing, here's the crazy thing. You can even say this, that even with what happens in Revenge of the Sith, it still doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Because
when he last meets him in Revenge of the Sith, he's no longer a Jedi. He has gone full Sith. He is a learner of the Dark Lord, or the dark side. Like, that's what he's doing. Yeah. So, there was no complaining about it then. Why are people going to complain about it now? But it is what it is. It's Star Wars fandom for you.
I mean, you can make the argument that he mastered all the Jedi. Noobs.
I don't know, but we're getting, production is going to be starting any day now, which is exciting. I can't wait. But so we really don't have much besides what I just said. We did get a cast list, though, and I'm going to pull that up here right now, because this is the cast list. Obviously, Ewan McGregor, because he's Obi-Wan.
Spoiler alert!
Whoa.
Spoiler alert! Damn.
Hayden Christensen, who's Darth Vader.
Spoiler alert! Damn, man. The prequels came out like 15 years ago.
Moses Ingram. That one there is an interesting, not choice, but character, because or actress, because we don't know who she's going to play. Joel Edgerton, who's next, as well as Bonnie Piesse or PAC or whatever the last name is.
Yes,
they are both known. That's Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. They were in 2 movies already. But Moses Ingram, who is she, and why is she top? Like, a lot of people are taking this as top billings. So like the top, the first 2 obviously are probably going to be the main 2 leads. This Moses Ingram, though, who is she? A lot of people are speculating that she may be a younger Ahsoka.
But why would Ahsoka be there for?
Now, there's a lot of speculation that there may be some flashbacks. And if there's some flashbacks to when they were in the Clone Wars, building on that relationship and friendship of Anakin and Obi-Wan that we've all wanted to see in live action, it would make sense, because Ahsoka played a major role in Star Wars during that time.
Yeah.
So who knows? We'll see, I guess. Again, Joel Edgerton and Bonnie, I already talked about. Kumail Nanjiani, comedian, which I'm kind of worried about, because
we don't need comedy in this at all.
We need Star Wars comedy.
Yeah, we don't need Aziz Ansari comedy.
There's different in the comedy. There's a different type of comedy in Star Wars, and the best way that I can explain everybody to realize this and understand the differences in comedy is watch The Last Jedi and then watch The Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And pay attention to the comedic moments in those 2 movies. Because in one, you have what is Star Wars comedy, which is what we had for 7 films prior to The Last Jedi. 8, if you want to count. Solo was after Last Jedi. So 7, yes. Rogue One had no comedy in it. So.
I mean, it would be real gruesome and morbid if Rogue One had comedy in it.
But then, when it comes down to it, the comedy in The Last Jedi is what a lot of people call Marvel comedy. It is slapstick. It's
stupid Disney comedy.
It just exactly, and that's what my worry is with getting somebody like Nanjiani in this show. Now, he could be something like a Timothy Olyphant was in The Mandalorian, where he popped in for 1 episode and then was done.
Yeah,
and. Okay, if it's 1 episode, not a major role, I'll allow it. This other person, Indira Varma, I don't know who she is.
Oh, she's a lady.
She's a lady?
Probably foreign. Well, foreign to America. I should specify that.
She kind of looks evil, so I'm going with Imperial. That's what I'm going with.
I'm going to say
the Empire.
She could probably pass as a discount, Natalie Portman.
Maybe, but why wouldn't you get Natalie Portman back? You know she'd come back. I mean, I don't know. Can't say you know, but
you probably blew too much money in the first two people on the list to do it.
But if you can't get Natalie Portman, get Keira Knightley.
Valid, yeah. I mean, also, I want to clarify, I'm not drinking milk. This is a White Russian, so I'm not being weird.
I mean, still, you're drinking it with a straw, so
yeah, that's because like it's not real ice cubes; it's those fake ice cubes you freeze and they hurt my teeth.
Oh, weird. Rupert Friend, which I thought was interesting that they brought Rupert Friend into this because he's a he's a decent, like he's a bigger actor. He's not, he's not a nobody. But his, what was his last movie? His last thing that came out was actually a TV series. Man, he's been in a bunch of stuff lately. Oh, he was in the Homeland TV series. I kind of stopped watching that after the second season. But I mean, he's been in a good bit, but he puts off a imperial officer kind of vibe. Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm going for. A lot of people are speculating that Rupert Friend might be Thrawn. I don't think Thrawn's going to show up in Obi-Wan.
I don't think it would make sense for Thrawn.
No, there's really no reason for Thrawn to show up. But I've also,
or if he did, you wouldn't put him here on the card.
No, you're right. Also, I've heard who they cast as Thrawn. They haven't announced it yet. I've said it other times. So if you don't want to know, cover your ears. 3, 2, 1. Lars Mikkelsen, who does the voice.
100% behind it.
Yeah, he does the voice on Rebels for Thrawn, or did the voice for Thrawn on Rebels. So there you go. There you have it. All right, next up, we got O'Shea Jackson Jr. We got Ice Cube Jr. Speaking of ice cubes.
Hey, today was a good day.
So we got O'Shea Jackson Jr. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I kind of want to see him as a bounty hunter. That's what I want to see him as. I think he'd be really cool. And then we got Han from Fast and the Furious, Sung Kang.
Oh God, he's Jim. I'm just gonna assume every Asian person's Jim from The Office now.
Oh, gotcha.
Jim's here.
Then we got Simone Kessel and Benny Safdie. I don't know. I'm terrible at names.
I feel like you could have got a way better picture of him than that.
He looks like your IT
yeah. It's like a mid 2008 IT person because you got like the eyeliner on and it's weird. It's just making everybody uncomfortable.
Listening to My Chemical Romance when you walk in his office.
He's like, I'm not. Okay. Then you hear the G note.
So that's it. That's all the information, and you want to sit there and talk about they've obviously revealed a lot more. There's really nothing more that they revealed.
I don't think we're going to see anymore, just because it's Obi-Wan. They want to keep it tight-fisted.
Yeah, I think they'll do a pretty good job in that. But that brings me to what this whole show is going to be about. Mostly is the speculation aspect of it. I want to know what you think is going to happen in the show. What you want to see in the show.
References the old Obi-Wan series that we were writing forever and a day ago.
What do we get? 1 or 2 episodes out? We wrote outlines for 2 episodes.
I think we're up. Well, I think I wrote up to episode 6 because I did kind of start an arc there.
Yeah, it was. We over at Spoilerverse.com. We were kind of just getting into the groove. We were like, let's pitch our own Star Wars TV show, Obi-Wan. I think this is right whenever. It was right whenever they announced that they fired the first writer, who was his name was Hans. What?
I don't know.
Hussein Amini. He wrote the thriller Drive, which came out 15 years ago. They fired him, or they went their separate ways, and then they hired Jobby Harold. And prior to them hiring Jobby, Colton and I were like, hey, let's write our own and just post it online, and people can get excited about it. But
yeah, we should have just sent it to Disney.
We should have
been like, here you go. We'll write the rest of it, but here's the outline.
Would have been nice. For sure.
But realistically, I think we're going to see Obi-Wan's going to say, I have a bad feeling about this at least 3. 3 times. Oh, the multiverse is breaking apart. The multiverse broke for a second, guys. We're back there. It's okay. You can wake up now. We all love you. I'm sorry for people that disassociate. But I think Obi-Wan's going to say, I have a bad feeling about this at least 3 times.
Why 3?
I don't know, because it's more than 2 and less than 4. Because isn't there? I mean, I think that the lightsaber battle is going to be overhyped, and we're not going to see what we think we're going to see. I think the quote unquote duel between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan is going to be more of a like why versus I hate you type thing. Like Obi-Wan's gonna be like why, and Anakin's gonna be like I still fucking hate you. Like we're not gonna see the traditional duel that we think. We're gonna probably see more of like the barbaric style that we're in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I think we might see the beginning of the rebellion in this, but don't quote me on that. I think we might see something similar to the Force Unleashed, not with like Starkiller. I mean, maybe with Starkiller, if you're going to introduce Starkiller, this would be the show to do it. But, like, oh, there was a bad guy, and then like he got all the rebels together, and the rebellion was starting to form, and then it's not going to lead to episode 4, but there's enough of a gap to like, oh, maybe this character died and that's why this happened, and you have 9 years to play with, so it would make sense why no one or anything appeared in episode 4.
I sit here, I think about different things that they could possibly do with this show, and one of the things that I literally, you talking here kind of was like, what, how cool would this be? How cool would it be if they kind of found a way for Obi-Wan to have some premonitions, much like Anakin, or even Anakin Vader is having premonitions? Wouldn't it be interesting if, remember the scene that has been rumored that was deleted from The Force Awakens, the scene that everybody wishes that they wouldn't have deleted and we would have seen, was the Vader and Luke fight on Bespin from a different angle, from a different point of view? Wouldn't it be interesting if Anakin, not Obi-Wan, Anakin was still struggling with premonitions of the future and seeing the future, and he sees the fight with him and Luke? Obviously, he doesn't understand the full context of who he's fighting, what he's fighting, or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it would be a way to bring that scene that has been rumored to be deleted, or was shot but was deleted, bring that into the fold. Obviously, they'd have to edit around it to not show Rey, because nobody wants to see Rey anymore. But
hey, whoa, don't get carried away now. I would give me another movie, give me a whole nother trilogy. I'm fine with it.
But you could then also talk about bringing into, you were talking about the rebellion, and it reminded me of a scene that was deleted from Revenge of the Sith, which had Padme, Mon Mothma, and a couple other representatives.
Yeah, where they were trying to form it,
and they were discussing exactly kind of the early inception of a rebellion in a way. Again, bring that into it. Find a way to bring that into it. There's a lot that they could do with some deleted scenes because of where this is taking place, the ability and the utilization of the Force, the abilities that Anakin has had in the past that we've known about him having premonitions and seeing the future. I think that it could all be quite amazing and interesting and fun.
There's a lot that they can do with this, just with all the lore that's around that time period and these two characters.
Yeah. No, I know that, both of us have talked about a lot. We want to see Obi-Wan go off of Tatooine, and I do think that's what's going to happen. What do you think? Do you think he'll leave Tatooine?
I think it's bound to happen. I think he's reluctantly going to do it, and he's like, I don't know, Ice Cube Jr. is, I don't know, I'm just talking out my ass at this point, but he's going to trust one of those characters that were on that list that was just shown a couple minutes ago to watch over Luke while he's gone. I mean, obviously, not better,
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe he makes a friend, or
I have a feeling that one of the characters on this list, I'm even willing to say that this Benny Safdie, the IT guy.
Yeah, MCR's #1 fan.
I'm willing to say that he is going to be a Jedi on the run, and that he comes across Obi-Wan on Tatooine. I'm willing to go that route. And I know that's something that is taken directly from
I was
our
gonna say that's
idea.
literally from the script of our idea.
I know that comes from
it just
idea,
changes the Jedi.
but there has to be a reason that Obi-Wan is pulled from hiding. And Obi-Wan is not reckless or careless enough
to just go.
To not just go, but to utilize his abilities to set off any sort of, alarm, to the Empire, to Palpatine, to the Sith. He's not reckless enough to do that. I have a feeling that there has to be a catalyst. There has to be somebody that comes along that forces him to do that. No pun intended, but forces him to use the Force in a way to protect or save someone.
Yeah.
Now, again, taking a look at this list, perhaps it's the one of the two women on there. Maybe he begins to fall for one of them, and that's what kind of pulls him, and she's in danger. She's and he has to utilize his Force abilities. But
and she's a double agent, which leads him to the Death Star and Vader.
I don't think he's going to the Death Star. Well, obviously the Death Star's not even made yet. But
the half Death, the version Alpha 1.2.
It won't even be made then. I think that both Obi-Wan and Vader are going to meet. I mean, they've already said, but I think it's going to be on a planet. It's not going to be in space. I hope it's on a planet. I hope it's not in space. I hope it's not a space battle or anything like that.
That'd be disappointing.
I want to see them fight. And to your point about saying, I think it's just going to be something that we're not not wanting. It's going to be something very...
It's going to be more symbolic than an actual duel itself.
Which is what they did with Obi-Wan and Maul. And I think that would be a mistake. Now, remember, I mean, she has stated, Kathy Kennedy, fight of the century. Fight of the century. She is saying fight of the century.
Have they ever saw me too drunk and fighting the will to puke? Because that was the fight of the century right there.
Honestly, I think we're going to get something pretty phenomenal, because we're going to have a younger Vader. And while he's in the suit still, he's more machine now, the man. He'll be lumbering, all that jazz. I think because he is, 10 years younger, 11 years younger than what we see him in the original trilogy.
Because, he would be what, in like his 30s at that point? Mid-30s, something around there?
Yeah, I think he'll be a force to be reckoned with. I kind of harken back to that fan video where somebody redid the lightsaber battle from A New Hope.
Oh, that's so dope, though.
And that's kind of what I think it's going to be like. I think it's going to be more actiony than not. So I'm hoping for that, obviously. But I think that's what they're going to go with it. I think that it would be foolish for them to do a more symbolic fight like they did with Maul, only because while fans like you and I are like, that Maul fight was phenomenal.
The casual person would just be like, nah.
Yeah, why did I waste, what are they, an hour each, 2 hours each, however long the episodes are, why did I waste 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hours, for this? They're not going to want to do that. And I don't think they're going to. But then it comes down to what is going to be the reason that they meet. Obviously, Obi-Wan is going to be protecting Luke. He cannot allow Vader to find Luke. That is his number one goal, his number one mission. He can't allow that to happen. So what is going to lead him to Vader or Vader to him? What do you think?
I think he's going to have to step up and be reckless at some point in time with something, whether he wants to be or not. I don't know, like something like a Tusken Raider attack that makes him lash out, like, something that he hasn't had to do before. But, this is 10 years after Revenge.
But what gets him to Vader? Because my theory and idea and thought, like, okay, if there's a character that's a Jedi who's being chased and is trying to flee, that's going to pull Obi-Wan out. But how
Maybe
does
it's Baby Yoda.
But how does it lead to Vader?
Baby
You
Yoda.
know?
I think we're gonna get a Baby Yoda reference in this series.
I
don't think he's gonna like. I think it's gonna be a
Baby
reference.
Yoda. I love Baby Yoda. I have
17 pops somewhere around here.
I have
this. Oh, it's right over there.
Wearing my Shootin the Sith shirt. I have this. I mean, I love Baby Yoda's next as much as the next.
Use your words, man. It's okay.
As the next person, but I really don't believe that they're going to bring him or any reference to him. If there's a reference, it's going to be you might hear that the child is en route, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Something so small, and everybody's going to be like, "Oh my god!"
To the casual fan, it's insignificant. To the diehards, they're going to be like, "Did they say Yoda? The child? You know,
the child, Grogu? What do you mean?" I think I don't want to go the route that Fallen Jedi went, but I have a feeling it's going to be like there's someone that's on the run that needs help above Tatooine or something like that, or just crashed next to Mos Eisley or out in the Dune Sea or something like that. Or maybe he's going after Yoda sends him on a mission for something, because I'm sure they would still be in contact. Or like, well, I mean, he's training to, well, at this point, I'm assuming he's done training, but to talk to Qui-Gon as a Force ghost.
What do you think? Do you think we get Qui-Gon?
Oh, I would love it. I'd love it, and it would be so amazing.
But I mean, think about it. You know, I want a yes or no answer. You know, yes, we want to see it, but yes or no, Colton. In your opinion, will we get Qui-Gon Jinn? Will we get an appearance of Qui-Gon, or at least his voice? Because I don't think Qui-Gon ever learned how to appear as a Force ghost, but will we at least hear his voice?
Yes, because I feel like Obi-Wan's going to need the closure of, did I pick the wrong person to be the chosen one? And I feel like that's going to be kind of big with Obi-Wan dealing with his PTSD.
So you're really sticking with this idea of PTSD that Obi-Wan is facing because of what happened. You know, it's not a bad way to go with it. It really isn't. But
because like Obi-Wan in episode 3 is a completely different character than Obi-Wan in episode, I almost said 5, but episode 4.
Yeah.
Granted, I mean, the Clone Wars, where you're just seeing death literally every time you open your eyes, would change anybody. But I mean, basically your brother turned against you. Everybody you know's dead. You have to go hide. Mm-hmm. Like, you've lost literally everything in the span of 4 years, 5 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So like that would take a toll on anybody, whether you're a good guy, bad guy, normal person, a dog, anybody. Yeah. More importantly, I feel like we're going to see Jabba the Hutt.
I really want them to. I know that we're going on Tatooine. I want to see. I think the best idea for the show to start with Obi-Wan is, I think that you need to see him doing his everyday routine, whether it's going to Mos Espa, Mos Eisley, you know, Mon Calamari, whatever.
Yeah.
I know Mon Calamari is, yes, thank you. It's not, it's a species, not a city. Anyway, but before we
calm down, keyboard warriors.
But I think that, honestly, I think that we need to see his everyday routine, and I get that. But that's about all I want to see from Tatooine. I want to see where Obi-Wan lives. I want to see where his everyday routine takes him, and I want to see Lars homestead. Besides that, maybe we catch a glimpse of, you know, some T-16 shooting womp rats, you know, in Big Canyon. Cool. That'd be cool. But I don't want to expand and get into this. Oh, here's Jabba's palace. Here's Jabba doing this. You know, like, I want this story to stay very small. I want this to be a small story. I want this to be very personal to Obi-Wan. I want this to have a very heavy look on what he is going through and what he's doing to protect Luke. That's what I want to see from this show. And I think that they can accomplish that if they do, or as long as they stay focused on Obi-Wan and not so much the world. The world that Star Wars is built. And that's the beautiful thing about this, is you don't need to do any world building per se. I mean, you need to explain the time frame that you're in, and
And that's about it.
And what Obi-Wan's life is like. Exactly, that's about it. After that, we know what Star Wars is. We know it's a galaxy far, far away. We know there's many planets, there's starships, there's lightsabers, there's blasters. We know all that. You don't need to build on that.
It'd be cool if, for some reason, Obi-Wan has to go to Naboo for whatever reason, and that happens to be the time that Darth Vader is putting siege on the planet to, visit Padme's grave or whatever, and we get that touching moment.
I kind of feel this is what we're going to get.
And it just so coincidentally that Obi-Wan knows it, and they just kind of, that's how they meet, like, in her grave, or her tomb. Sorry, not her grave.
I think what we're going to get is very little of Vader from that aspect.
Yeah, we need a Vader show. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We got 6 of them.
Again, one of these characters is going to be the main bad guy. He's going to be, whether it's Nanjiani, Friend, this guy, the IT guy, whomever. It's going to be even one of the women. It could be one of the women. One of them, they're going to be the main bad guy that is reporting back to Vader. And that's how Vader is going to get involved. Because again, if they go the route that I think they should, where you have a Jedi on the run, a young Jedi or young Force user on the run, and they're Inquisitors or Jedi hunters that are going after this person, and Vader's in charge of this. Remember, they've built this up in the current lore. Vader is in charge of hunting down all of the remaining Force users and Jedis. So they're going to be reporting back to him. And it just so happens that they come across an old hermit, that has Force abilities that they have not seen in decade, or more.
Yeah.
And that's going to get back to Vader. And that's how I think Vader's going to get pulled in. But
oh, wait a second. Can you pull up the cast list? Sorry. This just hit me. So I'm going to say Moses Ingram.
Yeah.
What if she is Sierra from the Fallen Jedi or Fallen Order?
That'd be interesting. But why not just get the actress who played her?
She's not the actress that played her. She kind of looks like her.
Yeah, I know, but why not just get the actress that played her?
She's not. I thought she was.
Is she?
I don't know. Hold on to the internets.
To the internets.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys that got like a mechanical keyboard. I'm sorry. Let's see here.
I should probably do cast.
Yeah, I'm totally. There we go.
No, it is. It is not.
Oh, they look kind of similar.
You're saying Sierra?
Yeah, Deborah Wilson.
Yeah, Deborah Wilson. Yeah, that's not her.
You can maybe pass it though. The eyes would definitely be off.
Maybe a younger. It wouldn't even have to be younger. It would be that time frame roughly. But Fallen Jedi Order, doesn't that take place 5 years after?
Something like that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we didn't do our research here, guys.
Yeah.
Not for Jedi Fallen Order, anyway. Yeah, it's 5 years after Anakin becomes Vader.
So,
which, I mean, at that point would kind of make sense because wouldn't she still be cut off from the Force anyway? And still kind of dapples in the dark side?
perhaps.
Kind of. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I
kind of want to see Cal. I want to see Cal in the series, to be honest.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, if you read our story that we were writing, we brought.
Cal. Now we're just straight up shamelessly bringing that in now.
yeah. But honestly, I don't think they're going to go that route. I mean, we also have another former Jedi Master pop up at some point in this story. That.
Yeah, I mean, let's just everybody, all the Jedi Masters that are still alive, Obi-Wan series right now. Endgame final episode is Endgame like material. Obi-Wan Jedi.
So. Do you think there's going to be any surprises? And what do you think they're going to be?
I think that we might see Yoda.
Okay.
Not like, you know what I mean? Like they're talking through the Force, but like, Obi-Wan next, frames Yoda. Something like that. I think we might see Yoda for a solid 5 minutes and that'll be it.
Yeah.
because you don't really need an actor for that. It's a puppet.
Mhm.
And anybody can voice Yoda if you do a good enough voice. I feel like Tarkin and Kenrick are going to be in this. Is it Kenrick?
Not Krennic.
Krennic. Sorry, Kenrick is
spoiler country. Spoiler country. Yeah.
I think
those Kenrick, two. Man, you got cast in Star Wars. What the hell?
Hey,
man?
Proud of you. Celebratory drink on me. I feel like we might see those two in this series.
Mainly would be younger. Tarkin, we've already seen Tarkin in Revenge of the Sith, so it's a possibility that we could see Tarkin.
And kind of see, because I'm assuming if we see anything of Vader, it would be with Palpatine and the Death Star. Mm-hmm. Like, seeing the progress of it or where it's at 10 years after.
Yeah.
Which kind of would tie together something. I feel like I can't remember his name. The guy who made the Death Beam for the Death Star. I know that's a terrible name. He was in Rogue One.
The Death Beam.
The Death Beam.
you mean Jyn Erso's
father? Yeah. He might be in it too. I wouldn't. Galen. There we go. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing that either. But again, that would just be kind of like little minute things that would be like, hey, I know where that's from.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to see a lot of people think that the Empire's good people in this dystopian type thing, because we're all used to run through 6, Solo, and Rogue One that the Empire's bad. You want the rebels. But I think in this show, we're going to see a twist of the Empire's the good people. The Rebellion are just domestic terrorists. And, anybody that's seen sympathizing with the Rebellion is going to, be an enemy of the Empire. And the Empire is like all good and everything. I think that's going to be the kind of like culture thing that we're going to experience in this show. I mean, we're all instinctively going to know the Empire is bad, but the universe itself is going to think the Empire is good.
Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this show plays out. I think it's a bold move. It's something that can really, I think, bring the legacy fans back into the fold. Because regardless of what people want to believe, the sequel trilogy has really
just took a shit on everything.
It divided the fan base and really pushed a lot of the legacy fans out in a way. I think this is a good way to bring them back in, to get them excited about something, about a character that we've all grown up with and have loved. And I'm calling myself a legacy fan here, even though I started in the 90s with it. I consider myself a legacy fan, and I am one. I'm somebody who the sequels, the more I sit there and think about it, I have no, I honestly, if I had to go the rest of my life without ever watching watching one of the sequel trilogy movies again,
yeah, I would be okay with it.
I would be okay with it. But if you were to say, look, you can never watch the prequels or originals again, I'd be like, yeah, fuck you.
I'd be like, no, I can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like, what's going to happen to me? I got to watch those movies. And that's the sad part of what's happened with Star Wars. And I think The Mandalorian has done a good job in kind of bringing it back to its roots. Mm-hmm. And that's why I keep telling people, so many people are so dead set on this whole idea that they have to get away from the Skywalker saga. They have to get away from that and do something new. But I don't think you have to, No,
you don't have to at all.
And honestly, I think if you do, that is when we start to go down that path of what happened with the sequel trilogy, because they continuously tried to pull away from the Skywalker saga in that trilogy. They were,
I still don't acknowledge 8 as an episode. I don't at all.
It's really funny. I was on Twitter last night, just kind of scrolling through, and somebody posted, people need to stop with the Last Jedi hate, and obviously it kind of started a big, discussion on there, or fight, or whatever you want to call it. And people just don't seem to realize and understand, and when you and I have had a lot of discussion about Episode 8, and while it is very much more of it is much more a Star Wars movie than The Force Awakens is.
Yeah.
And the way that the story is built, but the way that it is executed is not Star Wars. Whereas you take a look at The Force Awakens, story-wise, it is not very Star Wars, but the way it is executed is Star Wars. And that is where I think a lot of people get divided, because they sit there and they say, oh, The Force Awakens is just a
reskinned episode 4.
Reskinned episode 4, which is, okay, you might not be wrong, but when you watch that movie, you feel Star Wars. Like,
yeah, JJ did a great job with it.
Yeah, it felt like Star Wars. When you watch episode 8, you can take out the Jedi aspect and the lightsabers and put in different characters, and you could be like, oh, this is a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing in that movie that connects it to Star Wars.
No, it's the whole Canto Bight scene ties it all together for Star Wars.
Ties it all together.
Yeah.
But
in a relevant 20 minutes.
I mean, while you do feel like, okay, the way that this story was built, the way that it's constructed, it feels like a Star Wars movie. But the rest of it doesn't. And that's the problem that I have with episode 8, because we both came out of the theater. Holy crap, it was awesome. We went and saw it again and fell asleep. And
yeah. Well, hey, I had medical issues that night. Okay.
But we watched it multiple times. We defended it constantly against other people. But then you sit back, just like kind of what happened with The Rise of Skywalker with me, is you sit there and you start to realize
it sucks.
This really isn't a good movie in the grand scheme of things. It really is not. And that's the problem, because then you have the same thing happen with The Rise of Skywalker, where it's not good. So 2 out of the 3 movies just really aren't good in the Star Wars scheme of things.
Yeah, I think episode 9 just suffers because episode 8 did nothing to help further the story that it was trying to build.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because the first 20-30 minutes of episode 9 are just rehashing what happened in episode 8.
Well, that's the thing. People that on that conversation I saw on Twitter, somebody made a good point that I didn't say it on Twitter because I didn't want to get involved, so I saved it for talking today. And they said, okay, the one thing that you got to love about The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi is it feels like one big movie. I'm like, no. One, it doesn't, because The Last Jedi pretty much negates everything from The Force Awakens. So that right there is wrong. But if you're feeling like that, if you're somebody out there who says, you know what, I like it because it feels like it's one big movie, that is also a problem. That is also a problem. That is another reason why it doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie. Because the thing about Star Wars that George Lucas was doing was he wanted the episodes to feel like episodes in the middle of a long-going series, like Flash Gordon, which is why he started in the middle. A New Hope, which was just called Star Wars at the time, started in the middle of this entire world and this entire galaxy, and everything's going on around him. There's backstory, there's side stories, all that. But that's not what he wanted to do. He jumped right in, just like Flash Gordon would. On this episode of Flash Gordon, boom, you're here, and this is what's going on. Guess what George Lucas did then? He did the same thing with episode 5, episode 6, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. You jump. There's a time gap that you jump into, 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, whatever it is. I mean, he's been all over the place because that's what it was supposed to feel like. There wasn't supposed to be a continuation of, all right, here's this one ending and here's this one beginning. It was supposed to end, and then there was supposed to be stuff that happened in between the movies, because you need to have these characters develop faster, since you're only telling a 3-part movie or a 3-part story. The fans are smart enough to understand that there's character development that takes place between films. But then what makes these movies even worse, and I hate that I'm getting on this tangent right now, is that there is no character development between these characters in 2 movies. You have Finn and Rey who have some development in the first one, then they're completely separated the second one, and then the third one they're all together and all happy-go-lucky, and it's kind of like it doesn't feel earned.
Yeah, and you're like, I think you two might be throwing the sex at each other in episode 7, and then 8, you're like, now he's like Rose, and then episode 9, you're like, is Finn gay? I don't know what's happening.
So, when you sit down and you start to really dive into understanding what makes Star Wars, you start to see that the sequel trilogy, while it has Star Wars in it,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel Star Wars as much as it should. And that's why a lot of the legacy fans like myself have been turned off by it and very, very scared of what they have coming up with all of this.
Yeah. I will say they redeemed themselves with season 7 of Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
If we take out the Ahsoka arc, we don't talk about those 4 episodes because those were pointless. But the Bad Batch arc and the Siege of Mandalore arc, I was like on board. Take me.
Yeah.
Especially the Mandalore arc. I was like, this is what I wanted and more.
Yeah, I agree.
But the sequel trilogy, anyway, to get back to that, I just saw Bad Batch and I started rambling. I think if they would have just let JJ write the sequel trilogy and just let it just do your thing, and instead of letting Ryan Johnson just do episode 8 and fuck everything up, and then half of 9's just retconning episode 8, would have worked out a little bit better. Because the whole bringing Palpatine back from the dead, it's a little bit of a reach for Legends, but you had all the Sith references, you had I can't think of the planet. What was the planet Palpatine was on episode 9?
Whatever, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, you had all these calls to Legends, and I feel like if episode 8 was written by JJ, it would have just built on the Legends that he was trying to bring in to the series. Because episode 7, let's be honest, it was a rehash. It was a safe play to get people back into Star Wars, and it worked. Yeah, there was no, we're not going to take any gamble. We're going to literally reskin it to make sure people get their asses in the theater. That's it.
Yeah.
But
and you were like, the story's going this way, and then Ryan Johnson was like, it's going to go over here.
Yeah, and then JJ's like, hold up. We're gonna come back.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate what happened with the sequel trilogy, and it kind of seems like, it divided the fandom, and it's unfortunate because I don't want the fandom divided. I love having conversations like you and I have about Star Wars all the time, and I love hearing people's thoughts, but it's just, people have this now, the whole idea that if you're not a fan of the sequel trilogy, then you're just some,
nerd.
Not nerd, it's just what is the Gen? I don't know. What do they call? What do they call the old? What do they call the old people nowadays? I don't know.
Gen X. I don't know, but no, I feel like that's also part of the fandom, which also ties into the internet culture nowadays. Everybody, it's the fandom menace, for Christ's sake. That's what it's known as. Yeah. But that's also the silent majority, or the vocal minority also gets the ones that are heard the most. I know not everybody in Star Wars are people like that. They're like me and you that can sit down and talk about it and, not threaten to kill someone over it, or but I feel like that the internet also has a lot to play with the bad stigma around Star Wars right now. Cause that's just the world we live in. It's 2021 post COVID. Everybody sucks. Everybody hates everything. That's it. But I feel like I have faith in Disney. I feel like when the Mandalorian was the make or break for Disney, and it definitely made Disney. They put a little bit more faith into him, I guess. Mm-hmm. Same thing with season 7. That was if you fuck those up, we're not going to be about this anymore.
Definitely, but I think we're going to wind down here, man. Love talking Star Wars with you. If you guys liked this show, make sure you hit subscribe.
Hey, I forgot. So I went to TJ Maxx today, and I got an AirPod holder. It's Baby Yoda.
Sorry. But make sure you find us on the twits, Bridge Geekdoms, White Ruby 53. That's where you'll find us and be able to talk to us on the twits. But with all that said, guys, make sure you hit subscribe, all that jazz. We're going to try and do one Shootin the Sith episode a month, and unless some big news breaks,
unless something happens,
something big happens, and we'll talk about it. But otherwise, we'll talk about the little news things here and there on our normal show, Bridging the Geekdoms, which will be every other week of the month. So make sure you subscribe, and watch that show as well. But with all that said, guys, Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you.
Blessed.